testing a Southworth steam pump before shipping to a new owner. This pump is now sold, and before sending it to the customer I needed to check the functionality. One of the big problems with steam engines is that they're fine if you use them every day, but if you park them up for a while, like this one that's been on my display shelf for a couple of years, sometimes you can experience problems with things not working as they should. This 12-inch Southworth pump is going to be fitted into the steamboat. This really is a nice thing, and I would like one. But then again, currently I have too many things going on in my life. Just look at this photograph, frying sausages on a steamboat on the river. And behind the sausage cooking apparatus is what I think is a Windermere kettle. These Windermere kettles are fitted with a steam coil internally, and once some steam from the boiler is admitted to the coil, it boils the water in the kettle. This boat is currently fitted with a water pump that's driven from the engine. But the owner, quite rightly, wants to fit one of these. It's a 12-inch Southworth pump, and this particular model is made from gunmetal and was built by Mr. Don English. Don's a really good friend of mine and runs a company called Jubilee Fittings, and over the years they've manufactured a lot of the world's miniature steam fittings. In this clip I'm attaching a piece of silicone rubber tubing to the steam inlet, and I'm using a cable tie to hold it in place. This is not a good idea for a permanent installation, but it's okay for a bench test. Once I admit some air, the pump immediately bursts into life. So now it's time to lubricate all of the external moving parts. The steam cylinder is lubricated by a mechanical lubricator, and the water cylinder is lubricated by the water that flows through it. In this part of the clip I'm removing the lid from the mechanical lubricator that provides steam oil for the cylinder. Steam cylinder oil is a special, very thick oil. Never use ordinary oil in one of these lubricators. On the outlet of the water valve chest is a valve. So why is there a valve on the outlet? This is simply so you can load the pump and make it appear to be pumping against a much higher pressure than ordinary atmospheric. And for the application in the full-size steamboat, this part needs removing, and the water chest needs piping directly to the check valve on the boiler. This is one of many polythene containers that I have in the workshop. I get them from my friend Chris English, who's Don English's son, and Chris also makes steam fittings. With the help of the spring clamps, both of the silicone rubber pipes are in the water, and it's very encouraging to see that air comes out of the pipe, which in turn causes a vacuum and makes the pump self-priming. Obviously this is not an air pump, so it really is good that it does pump air. I've had a few of Don's engines over the years, and they're always slightly different to the drawing. This mechanism is far better than the original one shown on the drawing anyway. I noticed a very slight water leak from the gasket around the top of the water chest, but just nipping up these special brass nuts stopped the leak dead in its tracks. To make sure that this part is perfectly dry, I'm wiping away the water, and once I tightened all these special nuts, the leak disappeared entirely. This clip is in slow motion. And this one isn't. You can see how much water this pump's capable of moving. It's double acting, so it pumps water on the upstroke and the downstroke. To slow the water flow down, I've closed the valve somewhat on the outlet. This stops it from splashing water all over me and the bench. My previous video was all about quiet compressors, and I would like to announce that I bought a new one. And in this clip you can hear why it's important that the compressor doesn't make a lot of noise. I like to clearly hear what the engine's doing. You can hear the compressor in the background, but it's very quiet. I thought it would be a good idea to try and attach a pressure gauge to the outlet pipe and see what the pressure was. Please be aware though that this water pressure is a lot less than what the pump's capable of pumping. It's already strangled by the valve on the outlet, but in no time at all it's heading towards 80 pounds per square inch. Unfortunately though, as I started to open the valve, the pressure went up really quickly and blew the silicone rubber pipe off the end of the outlet. And don't forget, this is after the strangulation of the valve. That's the point when the pipe blew off, and now I'm wet, and the engine's wet, and the bench is wet, and my t-shirt is wet. So that's enough of that. I want to check that the oil supply to the cylinder is as it should be. So here I've removed the union, and I'm replacing the union with one with a ball inside it. This just blocks the original hole in the steam chest. All I have to do now is run the pump and see if any oil comes out of this small pipe. And after a short while, some oil starts to come out of the pipe. And furthermore, it's the perfect amount of oil at every stroke. This particular pump is one of Don's, and it doesn't use a ratchet or anything fancy, it's just a cam that oscillates and presses a plunger, and they really do work once you set them up properly. You don't want too much oil because the tank will empty far too quickly, but if there isn't enough oil coming out of the pipe, that would not provide sufficient lubrication for the cylinder. Don makes a lot of commercial steam pumps for various companies, and he uses the same method on this one that he uses on the smaller pumps. This pump is mainly made from gunmetal, so there's not going to be a rust issue. A while back I repaired a steel version of this engine. Here's an edited clip from the video, and as you can see, it's very different to Don's. Believe me, this engine was so much better than the steel pump that I was repairing. The pump on the right hand side is the one I've been working on, and the pump on the left hand side is one that was built by my friend Don English. The difference is, this pump runs really well. Thanks to my multiple air outlet reservoir tank, I can run more than one steam engine from the airline. The one on the right is being supplied with more air than the one on the left. When I turn up the air pressure to the left-hand engine, it runs more or less the same, just a bit faster. I think it's time to compare the internal mechanism of these two pumps to see why both pumps run entirely differently. This pump that Don made is not really built to the plan. There are quite a few alterations. One thing that hasn't been altered is the diameter of the shuttle piston, which is 1/2 inch. And the centre part of the shuttle piston is machined down to 3/16 of an inch. Unlike the shuttle piston on the other engine, which is 3/8 of an inch diameter, machined down to 1/4 of an inch in the middle. Also, there seems to be quite a lot of play in the valve itself. To take the pump down further, I need to remove the oil feed. Here are the slide valve ports, and you can clearly see machining marks, but the pump works very smoothly and perfectly. The shuttle piston valve on the other engine is exactly like this one, if you look how close it is to the edge of the ports. On the other pump I thought that this was wrong, but no, it was me who was wrong. This pump is quite heavily modified. The left-hand valve is much thinner than the right-hand valve. That's because the primary valve spindle is in the centre of the block, not offset like on the one I'm working on. And the top part is like this. I think Don was just messing around when he made this pump. You can clearly see the positions of the valves are offset over to one side because the main valve spindle is in the centre. And whilst I'm oiling these valves, you can see that they move very easily. Yet when the engine is running, they seal perfectly against the block. I've had 2 or 3 of these pumps that Don's made, and they've all been different. I really do think he likes to experiment. And quite rightly so. Don is an excellent model engineer, and he tries things out just to see what happens. The Southworth 12-inch pump that feeds the water into the Castle V6 boiler is a horizontal one, and the water chest valves had to be extensively modified for this to happen. Now I'm going to do an A-B comparison between the port face of Don's pump, which is this one, and the port face of the other pump that I've remachined. This is from another episode, and the arrows show where the steam ways go. And as I showed in the episode before the steam test, the top steam way was almost completely blocked, but it's not now. Now that I know that there are differences between the pump that I'm working on and the one made by Don English, I'm going to bolt Don's pump back together. On the steam pumps that Don makes, he often uses this method, using long pieces of brass hexagon to hold the steam chest and water chest parts together. Because the threads are long, you can really tighten up the parts. Back now to the current video, and I'm replacing the union nut and the pipe fitting on the valve. The original fitting on the valve was one that I made to convert the thread from this very large size down to 3/8 by 32 to feed my Castle steam boiler. The Castle Steam V6 boiler is, as the name suggests, a 6-inch diameter boiler, and it's very good indeed. And this pump just took seconds to fill it. I fitted a water bypass valve to return the water back to the tank, so I could actually run the pump without it filling the boiler. Because I'm going to be packaging this pump very carefully in quite a large box, I want to make sure that when the customer gets it, it's not covered in oil that runs out of the lubricator. If I leave the pump in this position overnight, by tomorrow all of the oil will have drained into the plastic container. There's some water coming out of the water chest as well, which is going onto the bench, but a cloth soon takes care of that. The pump will soon be on its way to the new owner, and that's it for this video. Stay safe, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.